Hello, welcome to another video. I'm Hebrew Hybrid. Today we'll be discussing the Target exclusive McFarlane Toys Flashpoint line from the DC Multiverse. As you saw in my previous video, I was able to pick up the Flashpoint Wonder Woman. Nice looking figure. Comes with the cyborg head. That's the last piece of the line for the Build-A-Figure line for the Flashpoint Cyborg. When the line first debuted earlier this year with the first figure, the Aquaman, wasn't really too impressed. Don't get me wrong. The body sculpt on the Aquaman, pretty top-notch. The Trident, pretty top-notch, 10 out of 10. Same with the Cyborg torso for the Cyborg Build-A-Figure. The one thing I hated the most was Aquaman's head. It's just terribly ugly. Looks like he's screaming. Almost looks like a blow-up doll. In fact, I call this the blow-up doll Aquaman because they could have done a much better job with sculpting Aquaman's head. His facial expression, yada, yada, yada. I kept passing on this figure. What was $25 retail? I kept passing on it. Wasn't interested. Now, I was aware it was part of the Flashpoint line. I already had some Flash figures that McFarlane had. Wasn't really too impressed with the Flash figures. But, yeah, I wasn't sold on this Aquaman. Even when it got put on clearance, like $12 or $12.50, I passed on it because I just hated the head that much. Then came along the Project Superman. See what it looks like. Yep, the gold label, Target exclusive. $25 retail. I passed on it too. You know, don't get me wrong. I like the Flashpoint storyline. There is some continuity issues that I could debate about because, you know, I'm an old school Flash reader. I was reading it back during the Silver and Bronze Age years. But the Flashpoint story, you know, it's pretty decent. But I didn't really care a whole lot about the Project Superman. I kept passing on this, and I even passed on it when it got first put on clearance. But what changed my mind was when McFarlane Toys solicited the Barry Allen Flash. Here's what it looked like. A lot better sculpt than what was before. The better body buck that they used. Overall sculpt. The swappable heads, masked and unmasked. And with me being a Flash fan and reading those old Silver Age and Golden Age where he pulls his mask down to talk with his peers, his fellow superheroes, and other people that actually knew his double identity, that was a big plus, especially when you're watching the Flash TV show and how Barry pulls his mask down to talk with people. You know, that's kind of like how when Spider-Man pulls his mask up to about below his nose whenever he's trying to eat when he's on duty. Now, this figure made me reconsider the Aquaman and the Project Superman. Now, right around the time this was being solicited, the Project Supermans was still on the store shelves, but they were starting to dwindle down because this was solicited. Project Supermans hardly ever sold. They just pretty much stayed on the shelf. Nobody really wanted them. Nobody really cared. And even when they got put on clearance for $12.50, which you can see the clearance price that I paid for, $12.49. This was the last one on the shelf, by the way, too. Because since the Flash figure could come out, I decided that I'm going to try to build the Cyborg figure after all. I got the Project Superman. All I needed was the Aquaman. And they were already all clearanced out. So I was lucky enough to get on eBay. I found a vendor that, along with the price they're asking for and the shipping costs, was underneath $20. So a $25 retail, I was able to pick up for a total of under $20 which was a great deal. And I really appreciate that from the eBay retailer. Now, after seeing the solicitation for the Barry Allen and me reconsidering the Cyborg Build-A-Figure, I then started speculating what could be the fourth figure in the line. So I'm looking on the back of the package, and I see the Aquaman, the Project Superman, the Barry Allen Flash. What could be this fourth figure be? What is that silhouette? I was wondering, is that an actual silhouette of the character, or could that just be some kind of generic caricature that they put in that could be anybody's guess? What could be the fourth figure? Well, the popular theory online was it was the Flashpoint Wonder Woman. And that's what it was. But I had my own little ideas. I had a pretty good idea of what I would like for this fourth figure to be. And, you know, I was a little disappointed when it was revealed that it was the Flashpoint Wonder Woman. But I'm making this video to put my idea out there and how this Barry Allen Flash, which sold out really fast, by the way. It did not sit on the pegs on the shelves for very long. Pre-orders sold out fast at Target. And as soon as they hit Target shelves, they were gone. Good luck to anybody that's trying to build the Cyborg figure that was anticipating the legs for the Cyborg and just totally missed out because everybody was wanting this Flash. I would argue this is the best Flash figure ever made. Better than the Superpowers line. Better than what Mattel has ever made when they had the license to make DC figures. McFarlane really outdid themselves on this figure. I loved how they got Barry Allen's likeness on here. I loved how there's interchangeable heads. Now, when I first saw the Flash figure being teased, solicited, whatever you call it, on the McFarlane Toys Facebook page, as soon as I saw how good looking this figure was, I knew it was going to be a hot item. Not only because I'm an awesome Flash fan. Now, when they showed the preview of the Barry Allen Flash on McFarlane Toys Facebook page, I pretty much knew that this figure was going to be super hot. It's going to be flying off the shelves. They're not going to sit like how the Project Superman and the Aquaman did. It will never see a clearance tag. I really debated whether or not to pre-order through Target, but I just love the thrill of the hunt so much. I love going to the stores and finding the product that I'm looking for and get it in my hands is just super rewarding. It's the thrill of the hunt. So I decided against pre-ordering the Flash. And after the pre-orders were filled up, I was kind of having second thoughts on my decision. Like, did I make the right decision? Am I really going to be able to be at the store at the right time when they're put on the shelves? Am I going to be able to get what I want? Because I already decided I wanted 3 of them. I wanted 2 to stay in the package and 1 to open, you know, so I could build the Cyborg line. And as time went on, it was just driving me nuts more and more and more every day, every week. And then I'm seeing in certain Facebook groups, different Facebook videos, pre-orders from the Target website was being shipped out and certain collectors was already receiving the product. Some YouTubers had already pre-ordered the product and started receiving them. The FOMO started hitting me. And if you don't know what FOMO is, it's FOMO, fear of missing out. And I really was second guessing my decision on not pre-ordering. Certain eBay retailers was posting their figures online. A lot of them ordered multiple copies of this Flash figure. I was seeing them as high as $65 to $130. And that was just blowing my mind. They're not even on the store shelves yet. The fear of missing out was really setting into me. So I broke down and I ordered a loose figure off of eBay. It was $50 with free shipping. It comes with the unmasked head and the masked head. Now, as to remind you, I was wanting 3 of these figures. 1 loose out of the package with the Cyborg legs, and 2 to stay in the package complete. But seeing as how I bought a loose figure online without the Cyborg legs, I was going to have to open one of the other two that I was wanting for the cyborg legs. So I'm out on the hunt. Whenever they start hitting store shelves, they were hitting the coast first, and everything comes to the Midwest last. So I was really hot on the trail for this figure. I was checking the stores every day. I was going to get 2 more of this Barry Allen Flash. I kept checking the Target's website, and it kept saying it was out of stock. I was checking it all the time, multiple times a day. Sometimes I would even see that they were in stock briefly. And then when I'm getting ready to try to place my order, I bust out my credit card, I'm going to put in the information, out of stock again. And I'm like, what is going on here? Is it like the warehouses are just receiving them momentarily and they're automatically being dispersed to other stores? Like, why is it showing that it's in stock for moments and then out of stock all over again? I'm hearing things online that there was returns from the pre-orders, and as soon as the warehouses were getting these returns, they're putting them on the website, and as soon as they're on the website, they're snatched right up. So that was a pretty good explanation that I pretty much accepted, and that was probably the case, but it was just added to my frustration even more. I wanted this figure so bad, and the fear of missing out was really eating at me. But the day came. It was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. I happened to check Target's website, and they were in stock. And it said they had 3 of them available. I got my credit card ready and was able to get 1. Now, like I said, I love the thrill of the hunt. I probably should have ordered 2, but I ordered 1 because I still wanted to go out and get my last Flash figure from a brick and mortar store. So as soon as that Flash figure came in the mail, so now I got 2 Flash figures. Still want a third. I still want to build that cyborg because I already had the Aquaman. I already had the Project Superman. I was wanting to build the cyborg. Am I going to be able to build the cyborg? Am I going to end up opening the second Flash figure that I acquired? Am I going to be shit out of luck on getting the 3rd Flash figure that I've been wanting? I kept checking the store shelves. I'm seeing certain YouTubers, certain people in certain Facebook groups for McFarlane Toys, they're getting their figures in. So I'm hitting the Target stores every day. I get to a Target store, and I start talking with one of the stockers. You know, just I've talked with him before. He asked me what I was looking for. I'm like, I'm looking for the new Flashpoint Flash. And he's like, I think I might have one in the back. I'm like, you might have one in the back? He's like, yeah, let me go check. I'm like, ooh, I really hope he's got that one, even though there should be more than one in the case. So he goes to the back, he comes back out, hands me my 3rd Flash figure. Oh, I was overjoyed. But at the same time, I'm wondering, why is it sitting in the back? Why is it not on the pegs? Well, I'm not going to get into all that, but that was crossing my mind. Now, this was a really hot item, and they did not sit on store shelves. They did not sit on pegs. They were gone in a flash, so to speak. Now, there were some people that wanted to build the cyborg figure. They already had the Aquaman. They already had the Project Superman. They were just waiting for the Flash. Well, they probably missed out on the Flash and are probably not going to be able to do it. Now, if they wanted to reproduce this without the cyborg Build-A-Figure, they could probably already do it without using my idea. But I have an excellent idea. An idea that would make me buy this all over again. Now, you're probably saying, Hebrew, spit out your idea already. Well, my idea is coming to you right now. A Flash and Reverse Flash 2-pack with interchangeable heads. Have Barry Allen on one side with maybe like a redesigned lightning logo. The Flashpoint Flash from the Flashpoint series has a yellow halo around the white circle that's right behind the lightning bolt. They could probably do a skinny black line around there, kind of like the traditional way from the Silver and Bronze Age of the Barry Allen Flash. Just do a small little black circle. There has to be a certain kind of variant to distinguish the Flashpoint Flash from the new Flash that I'm proposing in this video. Resculpt the head, give Barry Allen new facial features, kind of give him a different look than what the look that he's got right now. And for the Eobard Thawne figure, have him look angry, have him full of disdain. You know, he hates Barry Allen. Give him an interchangeable head, the ruble cowl down around the neck. Barry Allen versus Eobard Thawne in the same 2-pack. Interchangeable heads. If McFarlane Toys ever did it, it would be off the chain. If they were ever do a variant that's going to distinguish a new Barry Allen Flash, aside from this Flashpoint Flash, this particular one has a yellow halo around the white circle where the lightning bolt sits in front. They could probably do a skinny black outline around the white circle that sits right behind the lightning bolt, kind of like how they did in the Silver Age and the Bronze Age of the comic books. They can resculpt Barry Allen's head, have him, give him like a different look, a different emotional reaction. They can do the same too with the masked head, give him a different emotional reaction, a different sculpt, different facial expression. It's got to be distinguishable from the Flashpoint Flash that was the Target exclusive. For Eobard Thawne, of course, the color is going to have to be reversed. Yellow costume with red boots, red lightning bolts, black circle with a red lightning bolt. Give him red hair with kind of like a receding hairline, because that's how Eobard Thawne looks like. Give him a different emotional look, kind of like a look of disdain, a look of disgust, look of hatred, because he hates Barry Allen. He hates Barry Allen, you know, to his very extent. Same thing with Reverse Flash's head. You know, give him a new masked head. Give him a look of disdain, a look of disgust, a look of hatred. For those of you that don't know a whole lot about the Flash, might be normies, that haven't really read any comic books, let me give you a brief summary on the Reverse Flash. His first appearance was in Flash number 139, first appearance of Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. Eobard Thawne is a criminal from the 25th century who happened to intercept a time-traveling capsule that was sent from the 20th century. This particular capsule had a Flash costume that was donated by Barry Allen that still had certain vibrational frequencies in the costume. 25th century science, Eobard Thawne was able to harness that energy that was in that empty costume and created the powers for himself. He has the ability to run a super speed up to light speed. He can vibrate his molecules through solid objects. He has the ability to time travel to the future, to the past. He can travel to alternate dimensions. He can also travel to parallel universes. If you cannot find a copy of Flash number 139, it has been reprinted in Flash Archives Volume 5. Flash Archives Volume 5 consists of numbers 133 to 141. As you can see, it has the cover to Flash 139 in the bottom corner right here. 139 is also in this collected edition right here, or trade paperback, depends on how you want to call it. Flash the Silver Age, Volume 3. It is a paperback. It has many different issues in chronological order of how they came out. And open up here to the page where it has Flash issue number 139. They're still available online. If you're lucky enough, you might be able to find it at a used bookstore. Remember, it's the trade paperback, Volume 3. Flash number 139 was also reprinted in the Flash, the Silver Age, Omnibus, Volume 2. So you have many different options on how you can get a copy of 139, whether it's the actual first print from the 1960s, or you can get it in a reprinted format in the form of a trade paperback or an omnibus. Eobard Thawne has a deep-seated hatred for Barry Allen. The public in the 25th century followed the superhero years very closely, and it is public knowledge in the 25th century that Barry Allen was the Flash, and he is highly revered, kind of like how we revere George Washington and Abraham Lincoln today. Eobard Thawne is extremely jealous of Barry Allen. He wants to take the place of Barry Allen. He wants to replace Barry Allen. He even wants Barry Allen's wife, Iris. Throughout many decades, Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne have done battle many times. It even got to the point where Eobard Thawne impersonated Barry Allen on his wedding day to Iris Allen. Barry was able to intercept and whisk Eobard Thawne away and marry Iris himself later on. There have been several different methods how Barry Allen was able to disperse Eobard Thawne, but Eobard Thawne kept coming back and causing more and more trouble. It actually got to the point where Eobard Thawne confronted Iris and gave her an ultimatum: leave Barry and come to me or else. She rejected that offer, and he ended up killing her by vibrating his fingers right into her brain. When it was depicted in the comic book, when the death of Iris happened, it looked like somebody else had done it, an escaped prisoner named Clive Yorkin. For the next couple months, the reader believed that Clive Yorkin killed Iris Allen, but yet it was actually Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, who killed Iris and framed Clive Yorkin. After Barry Allen discovered this, he did battle with Eobard Thawne and was able to get him to travel endlessly throughout the time stream, not knowing how to land, just tumbling continuously without gaining a foothold in any kind of time period. Fast forward several more years, Barry Allen had gotten over the death of his wife Iris and was getting ready to remarry a woman named Fiona Webb. They had set a wedding date, and oddly enough, right before Barry Allen's wedding to his new bride, Eobard Thawne came back. Eobard kidnapped Barry on his wedding day, kept him in a chokehold, running throughout the streets. Barry was able to do a swift little reversal. Eobard was able to escape from Barry's clutches, and the chase was on. They chased each other all around the world. Whenever it got to the point when they're in an icy wasteland, Eobard then confessed to Barry that he was going to kill his new wife. And as Eobard dashed off, Barry was right behind him. As they were racing back to Central City, Fiona Webb believed she was stood up at the altar. She thought Barry was playing a big, sick practical joke on her and was leaving the church. Eobard was coming right up, getting ready to deliver the killing blow right to her head, vibrating his fingers to her brain, when Barry was able to get right up behind him and wrap his arm around his neck and get him to a screeching halt. But in doing so, caused Barry to break Eobard's neck, thus killing him. The death of Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, was issue number 324. The Flash then was arrested and put on trial for second-degree murder. There are many ups and downs throughout the trial. Barry's defense attorney actually hated him for some weird reason. She later warmed up to him. After all, she was trying to defend a man who she believed was possibly innocent. She had a resentment towards him. Now, eventually, she did warm up to him. After about a year progressed throughout the trial, a mysterious figure was running around Central City in a yellow uniform, leaving a yellow streak. People started to believe the Reverse Flash was back from the dead. Well, who it actually was another villain, a villain from the future, not 25th century, like Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, but from the 64th century, Abracadabra. Abracadabra was impersonating Eobard Thawne, and Abracadabra actually had ulterior motives. And in all actuality, he was actually trying to help the Flash. And I'll get to that here in a second on why one of Flash's biggest villains, Abracadabra, was trying to help out Barry Allen. But as there's jury tampering that was going on, the jury actually came to a guilty verdict on the Flash. In Flash number 348, a guilty verdict was handed down. Issue number 350, which was the last issue of the Barry Allen Flash of that particular era. Barry Allen had escaped his jail cell. He was on the run. The public was looking for him. But little did they know that his wife, Iris Allen, was actually back from the future. In Flash number 203, it was discovered that Iris was sent from the 30th century. Now, there was another time-traveling villain involved, and it wasn't from the 25th century like where Eobard Thawne was from. It's actually from the 64th century. Abracadabra. Abracadabra was impersonating Eobard Thawne and misleading people to think that the Reverse Flash was back from the dead. Now, apparently, in Iris's death in Flash number 275, her parents from the future was able to take her psychic essence, so to speak, her consciousness, and transport it back to their present, which was the 30th century, and transplant it into a woman with her same build, her same facial features, about the same young age that she was when she died. And Iris was able to survive her murder attempt that she had to endure. Iris had come back to help out Barry during his time of need when he was put on trial and try to sway the jury into an innocent verdict. When Barry was actually found guilty, she helped break Barry Allen out of jail. Now, after the whole thing resolved in issue number 350, and it was actually revealed that Abracadabra was the main villain behind the whole thing, Abracadabra tried to convince Barry to stick around for a few more hours, thinking it would help out with how the timeline would go. Abracadabra was actually trying to save Barry Allen's life. Reason why? Crisis on Infinite Earths number 8, the death of the Barry Allen Flash. Flash number 350 came out a month right before Crisis number 8. Flash number 350 gave Barry Allen a happy ending, so to speak. He went ahead and went to the 30th century to be with his love, Iris West Allen. And there he was able to spend about 30 days there. He and Iris was able to conceive twins named Dawn and Dawn Allen. Right about the time when Barry Allen was plucked from the 30th century and taken to the antimatter universe, he had no idea that Iris was pregnant. DC Comics kind of tried to give Barry Allen a little happy ending of sorts to try to please the fans, because a lot of fans were upset that Barry Allen died in the Crisis. Crisis number 12, his nephew Wally West, who was the Kid Flash, ascended into the Flash role. Now, Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne both stayed dead for over 20 years to the comic book reader. And for some reason, DC Comics decided to resurrect Barry Allen. Barry Allen was resurrected during the Final Crisis storyline. Right towards the end of the very first issue of Final Crisis, Barry Allen appeared right before Wally West and Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash. And when he reappeared, he came in saying, "Run!" Now, throughout the 20 years, they're trying to get the reader to kind of like Wally West. While in his younger years, he was able to achieve light speed, but for some strange reason, he came down with a special disease, and anytime he was using his super speed, it is actually slowly killing him. After the events of Crisis number 12, he absorbed the blast that changed his body chemistry, and his peak speed became the speed of sound. During Mark Waid's tenure as a writer on the Wally West Flash, he tried to put in the storyline that Wally could actually run faster than the speed of sound, but he was too afraid of replacing his uncle Barry Allen. There are certain tense story points that Mark Waid was writing to where Wally West had to push himself to actually run at the speed of light again, and even faster. Wally West was able to surpass his mentor, Barry Allen, as far as the ability to run fast. He was actually faster than Barry Allen, but Barry Allen knew all the little tricks in order to use his powers to the fullest extent. Vibrating through objects, transporting to different dimensions, vibrating at the right frequency to get done what needed to get done. In the Blackest Night storyline, they resurrected Eobard Thawne, the Verse Flash. You can kind of see him streaking around behind several different heroes and villains that was resurrected themselves that have been dead for a little while. And this also this little splash page too, you can still see him streaking around behind the heroes. Right in this panel, you see him confronting Barry Allen, telling him that he is leaving. Now you're probably wondering, why did they resurrect Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne after they've been given 20 years to boost Wally West up to be the best Flash possible? You know, Wally West was actually the Flash for a lot of new young readers. The Justice League cartoons depicted Wally West as the Flash. So why all of a sudden the change? Why resurrect Barry Allen after 20 years? My theory is that maybe they are wanting to market the Flash more to TV and movie audiences, because he had a very unique origin story with him being a police scientist and having knowledge in physics. And the accident that happened to him that gave him his powers was kind of legitimate. Whereas with Wally West got his powers through the same kind of accident, isn't as knowledgeable in physics as Barry Allen. Barry Allen knew all the little tricks and all the little perks of his powers, and he actually taught Wally West how to do a lot of things. And while Wally West was able to absorb all the knowledge that Barry Allen gave him, Wally West still didn't really fully comprehend everything Barry was telling him. Wally West was just not the super genius that Barry Allen was, and his origin story and how he carries himself was a lot better than Wally West. And I think that was more marketable towards commercial entertainment such as TV shows and movies, and just an overall better hero. Another reason why I think DC Comics resurrected Barry Allen was to give them a way to reboot the entire DC universe. One of the problems that Marvel and DC have is that they have a very long history of comic book storylines, and it is hard to keep track of and maintain new readers, be able to pick up new readers without knowing the extent of the history. So a lot of times these comic companies try to come up with jumping on points. DC was wanting to restart their continuity, kind of like how they did with Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985. And it all started with the Flashpoint Saga. The Flashpoint Saga was written by Jeff Johns and illustrated by Ethan Van Sciver. Now, while the main culprit behind the whole Flashpoint storyline, the main villain, was actually Eobard Thawne. Eobard had actually traveled to the past and killed Barry Allen's mother. Right about here, we see all sorts of super speed fighting going on here between Barry and Eobard. It was very nicely captured by a very talented artist named Ethan Van Sciver. Now, just like in the Flash TV show and in the movie that had just came out a little while ago, Barry Allen's mother was killed when he was very young. But the problem with that is the main storyline that led up to Barry Allen's death in 1985 on Crisis on Infinite Earths, his mother and father were still alive. His father was not in jail. His mother was still alive. What gives? What is going on with this storyline, with the Flashpoint storyline? DC Comics was getting ready to restart their continuity, get a fresh start so that new readers can jump on board. They wanted to kind of erase the old history, and the best way to do it was to resurrect Eobard Thawne, have him go to the past to kill Barry Allen's mother, and Barry Allen, in the new present, in the new timeline, decides he's going to go back in time and save his mother from being killed. Now, when he goes back in time to stop his mother from being killed, it creates a very messed up timeline. Atlantis and Themyscira are in the middle of a major war that is tearing the Earth apart, while Barry Allen's memories are kind of fragmented because they're kind of clashing with the new timeline that was created when he traveled back to the past to save his mother. Thomas Wayne was Batman. Bruce Wayne was the one killed in the alley. Bruce's death made Thomas Wayne become Batman, and his mother, Martha Wayne, became the Joker. Certain characters that were villains was actually heroes, and some heroes that were heroes actually became villains. And there was no Superman around, or so it looks like. Now, as the story culminates, and Eobard then tells Barry that he's the reason why this timeline is skewed, Barry is forced to go back in time and prevent himself from saving his mom from death. And that little logic doesn't really make sense because all throughout the Silver Age to the Bronze Age, around 1985, Barry Allen's mother was still alive. So they created that little weird storyline so they could restart the continuity. It worked for some people. It didn't really work for old readers, such as myself. You know, Flashpoint is what it is. It is a good story, but it doesn't really fit into how it really should fall in line. Now, this renewed rivalry between Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne has caused some very high stakes issues going on with the progression of the DC Comics storyline. It helped bridge the course towards the Doomsday Clock storyline, where they're mixing the DC heroes in with the Watchmen heroes. And in all honesty, the rivalry between the Barry Allen Flash and the Eobard Thawne has caused a lot more changes in the story continuity than even the Batman and Joker rivalry and the Lex Luthor and Superman rivalry. Barry Allen and Eobard Thawne is where it's really at. And in all honesty, I think a 2-pack of Flash and Reverse Flash would actually work, especially if they had interchangeable heads and lowered cowls, different distinct differences to distinguish themselves from the Flashpoint Flash that was the Target exclusive to the proposed 2-pack I would like McFarlane Toys to make. Now, that is just my opinion. This is not a leak. This is just basically a suggestion and a little entertainment point for you people watching the YouTube video. I think it'd be really cool to put it in a 2-pack, or even if they just want to put an Eobard Thawne just by himself with a removable cowl, different interchangeable heads, that would be fine. It would sell a lot of action figures. People would lose their minds. And my best advice to McFarlane Toys is they should try to meet the demand, but kind of monitor it to a certain extent, go into maybe a couple of different production runs, try not to overproduce. I really would hate to see this wind up at Ollie's, even though it might be cheaper at Ollie's in the long run, but it's definitely not good if it's just sitting on Ollie's store shelves not selling, because everybody's already got them. If you got any comments on this video, please leave them down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do I have a good idea, or do you not like it? If you enjoyed the video, shoot me a like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, support your local comic book, toy shop, and your brick and mortar store. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.